محمد وآل محمد. بھائی دیگر باوز بلند صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. سب سے پہلے تو میں درخواست کروں گا ایک سورہ فاتحہ مرحومہ تنویر زہرا مرزا کے لیے پڑھ دیں. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. ولم يكن له كفوا احد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولم يكن له محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل. With the permission of Maulana Sahab, inshallah. حسین کے نزدیک کر گئے آنسو. غم حسین کے نزدیک کر گئے آنسو. پھر اس کے بعد نہ جانے کدھر گئے آنسو. غم حسین کے ہمراہ تھے تو زندہ تھے. غم حسین کے ہمراہ تھے تو زندہ تھے. ارے غم حسین سے بچھڑے تو مر گئے آنسو. غم حسین. محمد و آل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم. بارک صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل. در جل چکا ہے یوسف زہرا کب آؤ گے. زہرا صدائیں دیتی ہے مولا کب آؤ گے. الجل 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 اللہم اجل ولی کل فرج. اللہم اجل ولی کل فرج. زخمی ہے فاطمہ ارے ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، زخمی ہے فاطمہ ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، دے کر صدائیں آپ کو، ارے دے کر صدائیں آپ کو لیتی ہے ہچکیاں یا صاحب زمان، زخمی ہے فاطمہ ارے ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، ہے پہلو شکستہ ہو گیا جلدی سنبھال لو، رے بلتے نبی کو آگ سے آ کر نکال لو، ارے مولا تمہاری دادی ہے، ارے مولا تمہاری دادی ہے شولوں کے درمیان یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، ارے زخمی ہے فاطمہ ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان، ہے دیکھا تو ہوگا ظلم نگاہ امام سے، ارے بیٹوں کے سامنے کبھی لوگوں کے سامنے، ارے کھائے نبی کی بیٹی نے، کھائے نبی کی بیٹی نے درے کہاں کہاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، ارے افضل جو بوتراب گئے کل کائنات سے، ارے خیبر کو فتح کس نے کیا اپنے ہاتھ سے، ارے وہ شیر کبریا کہاں، وہ شیر کبریا کہاں اور رسیاں کہاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، دے کر صدائیں آپ کو، دے کر صدائیں آپ کو لیتی ہے ہچکیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، ہائے مادر کا چہرہ تکتی ہے حسرت سے بار بار، ارے زینب کے ساتھ ساتھ ہیں کلثوم بے قرار، ارے چہرے پہ نیل دیکھ کے، چہرے پہ نیل دیکھ کے روتی ہے بیٹیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان، ارے زخمی ہے فاطمہ
ارے ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان. اور ایک زلزلہ سا طاری تھا قبر رسول پر، ہر ظالم نے ایسے ہاتھ اٹھایا بطول پر، ہر ظالم نے ایسے ہاتھ اٹھایا بطول پر. بکھری زمین پہ ٹوٹ کے، بکھری زمین پہ ٹوٹ کے زہرا کی بالیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان. ہائے کس دن ظہور پاؤ گے اے ابن فاطمہ، بتلا رہی ہے زہرا کی یہ زیر در صدا. یثرب میں تم نے دیکھی ہے، یثرب میں تم نے دیکھی ہے زخموں سے چورماں یا صاحب زمان. زخمی ہے فاطمہ ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان. اور ہے دشمن بطول کو ٹکڑوں میں بانٹ دو، تم کو قسم حسین کی وہ ہاتھ کاٹ دو، جس ہاتھ کا ہے بی بی کے، جس ہاتھ کا ہے بی بی کے رخسار پر نشان یا صاحب زمان، یا صاحب زمان. اور ایام پرزدار زہرا کا واسطہ کرتے گئے کم میر تکلم یہ سب دعا، کرتے گئے کم میر تکلم یہ سب دعا. ارے ماتم کرے بقیہ میں، ماتم کرے بقیہ میں ہر ماتمی جوان یا صاحب زمان. زخمی ہے فاطمہ ارے ٹوٹی گئے پسلیاں یا صاحب زمان. ارے دے کر صدائے آپ کو، دے کر صدائے آپ کو لیتی ہے ہچکیاں یا صاحب زمان. محمد آل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم، صلی علی محمد و آل محمد. تین چار بند مرثی کی پیش کروں گا. فاتحہ. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. اور محمد و آل محمد صلی اللہ دنیا سے جب گزر گئی زہرا جگر فگار، دنیا سے جب گزر گئی زہرا جگر فگار، چلائی سر کو پیٹ کے زینب کے میں نثار، ارے بن آپ کے ملے گا ہمیں کس طرح قرار، ارے اب کون ہے ہمارا وجود شاہ ذوالفقار، اب کون ہے ہمارا وجود شاہ ذوالفقار، ارے رنج و الم میں غم کی گھٹا دل پہ چھائی ہے، ارے ہم لٹ گئے رسول خدا کی دعائی ہے، ہم لٹ گئے رسول خدا کی دعائی ہے، اور اتنے میں آئے پیٹتے سر کو حسن حسین، ماں سے لپٹ کے کہتے تھے دونوں بشور و شین، ارے اماں اٹھاؤ سر کو کہ آئے گئے نور عین، ارے اے اماں جان ہم کو نہیں ایک پل بھی چین، ارے پہلے ہی ہم دکھی ہیں نہ غم کو رلائیے، ارے نانا کی طرح ہم کو نہ یوں چھوڑے جائیے، نانا کی طرح ہم کو نہ یوں چھوڑے جائیے، اور زہرا کو غسل دے چکی جب زینب حزین، آ کر کفن پہنانے لگے بادشاہ دین، اور آئے حسن حسین بھی روتے ہوئے قریب، ماں کے گلے لپٹ گئے دونوں وہ نازنین، ارے اعجاز سے بطول نے دل کو سنبھال کر، ہائے لے لی بلائیں ہاتھ کفن سے نکال کر، لے لی بلائیں ہاتھ کفن سے نکال کر، دنیا سے جب گزر گئی زہرا جگر فگار۔
اور محمد و آل محمد بلند صلوات۔
Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. For brother Abu Zar Sehat اور سلامتی کے لیے ایک باواز بلند صلوات۔ I really appreciate his selfless dedication to the community. He's always there. Even if there is no time, he makes time. So, mashallah. Jazakallah. I will request Surah Fatiha for Tanveer, Zehra Mirza, and all the Marhoumin on Jafriya Memorial Board, and please include your Marhoumin. I will request Sheikh Modarres to the member with the loud salawat.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the honor of the Holy Prophet, the best of creation, the seal of the messengers, Prophet Muhammad and his immaculate progeny, Ahlul Bayt, recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We are in the blessed month of Rajab for the honor of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Ali al-Hadi alayhi salam. Alayhim as-salam, recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And as we are approaching 13th of Rajab, Wiladat of Imam Ali alayhi salam, may Allah resurrect this Marhouma Tanveer Zehra and her father, Sayyid Sajjad Hussain, inshallah, with Amir al-Mu'min Ali alayhi salam, and all of us with the Ahlul Bayt in the Day of Judgment, recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أعداء الله أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم فخرج على قومه في زينته قال الذين يريدون حياة الدنيا يا ليت لنا مثل ما أوتي قارون إنه لذو حظ عظيم وقال الذين أوتوا العلم ويلكم ثواب الله خير لمن آمن وعمل صالحا ولا يلقاها إلا الصابرون صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the soul of all of our marhumeen, all the mu'mineen and mu'minat, especially Marhouma, passed away recently, and may Allah bless her soul. And whenever is the time and the fate and the qismah for us to leave this dunya, to be on Islam and submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would be with iman and forgiveness, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There are a lot of recent innovations that when we look at them, as they are, of course, it seems as innovative, new, refreshing, but in many shape and form, they are perfecting, improving existing inventions. Meaning that a lot of these ideas, a lot of these phenomena already existed in some shape and form, and now they're just being upgraded, updated. For example, our cell phones are a version of that. That pretty much newer phones, they don't have much newer technology contrary to what they may claim. They're just a bit faster. They're doing some, maybe their camera is a bit better. And the same is that when we look at iteration of 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. And all of this is about that so much truth that already exists. They just need a bit of polish. The reality is so much that we live with, they already been dealt with for thousands of years. For example, when we talk about why should I believe? This question, we are not the first one to ask. We will not be the last one to ask. And our scholars and the people of faith always address this question. All they did was they modified it to answer the need of the time. They didn't change fundamental principles of faith. And same is that, what's the key to happiness? What's the key to living a good life? Similar. It's been something that humanity been dealing with for thousands of years. And one of those things that we see is coming back is the root cause of many problems that humanity dealt with in the past. And nowadays, we're still dealing with the same problem. I'm not trying to oversimplify matters. I get to the point. I don't want to give a long introduction. The ayah I recited is from Surah Al-Qasas. What does Qasas means? Stories. Surah Al-Qasas are collection of stories of the accounts of the past. These verses specifically is about Qarun. Who's Qarun? According to narration, he was the cousin of Musa alayhi salam. He was related to Musa alayhi salam. Was very wealthy, very affluent, to the point that he had so much wealth that the keys to his treasures would be carried by people, by servants. And he would even have these parades. He would bring basically what we see nowadays, a New Year parade or other parades nowadays of companies promoting their brands. Back then, Qarun promoted his own brand, that I'm a wealthy guy. He had these parades. فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ فِي زِينَتِهِ. Allah says, let's look at the story of Qarun. What he would do? He would come out among his people while he was in his zina. Basically, he was in his adornment, in his beauties, in his decorations, whatever that was. And then people look at this. قَالَ الَّذِينَ يُرِيدُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. There are two types of perception. One is that all they see is this life. Yes, we know there is akhirah, we know there is life after death, but all I care about right now is this life. What I want is this life. يُرِيدُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. They desire the life of this life, this one. I want to wear this brand, I want to drive this car, I want to live in this neighborhood. I'm ready to sacrifice everything to get there. Just want to be clear, these are not non-believers, atheists. No, these are believers, but they're prioritizing this life over their faith, over the akhirah, over the after. So Allah said, these people, they say, Ya layta lana mithla ma utiya Qarun. What they would say? Oh, would that we had like what was given to Qarun. I wish we had what Qarun had. إِنَّهُ لَذُو حَظٍّ عَظِيمٍ. Indeed, he is one of the greatest fortunes. He's the one who's very wealthy. Again, he has what he wants. He's very lucky. I wish we were like him. And then there was a second category of people. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمِ. And but those who had been given the knowledge of what? The knowledge of knowing what this life is about. They understand that the end of this story is that we have to leave all of this behind, and even if I enjoy all the pleasure of this life, it's not going to give me satisfaction. It will not give me fulfillment. Some people, unfortunately, they have to live through it to get to that conclusion. They have to, unfortunately, live 40 years, 50 years, and after all of that, they get to that conclusion. You know what? I thought that money is going to do this. I thought I would have been satisfied. But some people, they were given the knowledge of it. Meaning before experiencing it, they understood it. You don't have to necessarily make the same mistake as others. That's what the benefit of knowledge is. It prevents you from making the same mistakes as others. So these who were given knowledge, they said, وَيْلَكُمْ. Woe to you. What kind of dream is this? What are you wishing for? That you had what Qarun had. ثَوَابُ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ لِمَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. The reward of Allah is better for the one who believes and does the amal salih, the righteous, they do good deeds basically. Meaning if you know the worth of faith, you know none of this will be equivalent or even close enough. وَلَا يُلَقَّاهَا إِلَّا الصَّابِرُونَ. And the one are granted, no one is granted this except the patient one. No one will be granted this knowledge and this understanding except those who have patience. Meaning, wait until the end of this story. Like, for example, what we see in Gaza, the suffering of Gaza, a lot of people, they just look at the incident in Palestine from recent. They just start watching the movie from that moment on. They don't look at the beginning of this movie, the history and what happened. It's very easy to look at things that way. So, what is this relevant of these verses to our time? Pretty much now we don't have to actually go to the streets and look at Qaroons of our time coming out with their wealth. All we need to do is turn on our cell phones, go on social medias, and look at that wedding and that ceremony and that party and that birthday gift and that anniversary gift. And sometimes, even if you don't say it out loud, it may come to our mind. I wish I have what they had. Look, this is the kind of wedding that I wanted to have. This is the kind of gift I want to receive for my anniversary. This is what the true life is about. I want to go this kind of vacations. So a similar conclusion. We want what the others have. Going back to my introduction, things did not change as much. Still, as people wishing what other people have. They did in the time of Qaroon, they do it now, and they will do it in the future. But looking at others, usually, depending on what is our perspective, we either wish to be like them or we look at the big picture. We are patient enough to see that none of this will be fulfilling enough. Again, I'm not here to say money is evil and God forbid the one who are financially successful are bad people, none of that. But the truth is, not everyone is going to be financially successful. Why? Number one, a lot of this financial success, I leave you to do the research. Nowadays, it's not that difficult. Just you can, online research it. That what percentage of the wealthy people in the world, they are what is considered to be the money that basically was inherited. It's basically the money within a family going from one big wealthy family to their children, to their grandchildren, to their grandchildren. So that's one way. They call it generational wealth. That's that group of wealthy people, that's how it is. It's not about them being smarter or geniuses or not. There are a percentage of wealthy people that they are actually, they started themselves, they had a company, they had an idea, they were able to make it. But the majority of the wealth is generational wealth. So for that reason, sometimes, regardless of how hardworking you are, how smart you are, sometimes you need the proper networks, connections, setting, environment, all of this to work together in order for you to make it. So for that reason, in every time of Musa alayhi salam, and our Prophet's time, and the time of Ahlul Bayt, and nowadays, there are people who consider ghani and wealthy, and then you have people who are just doing okay, middle class, and we have people who are dealing with financial troubles, destitute and poverty and basically needy. And they are based on the circumstances of life. So the question I want to address is that, okay, we are dealing with what people in the past dealt with, is that sometimes these ancient wisdom offer the same solution. We don't need necessarily new solution. All we need is to use what we were taught. We don't need to change everything, because the problem is the same problem. If my issue is I'm dreaming, I'm wishing for something that is not going to satisfy me, so the solution that was offered in the past, it should work nowadays as well. Because the problem is the same problem. It did not evolve as much. The detail may differ, but the principle, the core is the same. And one solution to this, which is very important, inshallah I will finish with that, because the first of Rajab, was the birth anniversary of our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. And this narration is from our fifth Imam alayhi salam. Imam gave us a very, we can say short, but at the same time profound principle. Imam alayhi salam said, this is from Al-Kafi, Marhoum Kulaini, the volume 2, and Imam said, Al-Mu'min aslab min al-jabal. Mu'min means a believer, the one who has iman, the one who has faith. And Imam alayhi salam said, a believer is stronger than a mountain. Al-jabal yustaqallu min. It is possible for the mountain to be reduced. Earthquakes, volcanoes, natural causes. Even mountains can be reduced and destroyed. وَالْمُؤْمِنْ لَا يُسْتَقَلُّ مِنْ دِينِهِ شَيْءٍ. But a believer, nothing is possible to diminish his or her faith. So why I talk about this? One issue in regard of this idea of looking at others is the lack of strength. Weakness is one of the reasons that people look at other people's lives. Example, if someone is busy with their life, they have a goal, they have a purpose, they have responsibility to take care of their families, they know what they're looking for in this life, they know what are they basically chasing, this person will never have time to look at other people's goals. And they dream their desires and their goals and their vacation and their achievement. Why? Because I'm busy, already working on something. On the other hand, if I have a lot of free time, and that's why, by the way, I encourage you, all of you have a smartphone, right? MashaAllah, I see the humble faces looking at me. Just look at, it's very simple, performance, meaning that, okay, they call it daily usage and weekly usage. Nowadays, it's very easy to keep track. Muhasibah, right? We used to do muhasabatun nafs, self-accountability. Now let's do muhasabah of a smartphone. It tells us daily how much we spend on our phones and how much weekly we're doing it, and exactly on which app you're spending much more time. Some of you, I just look at your face and I'm judging the book based on its cover, and may Allah forgive me for that. I'm pretty sure WhatsApp is the one that you spend a lot of time on. One of them. For some of you, maybe other ones. What's the issue? If I'm busy, if I have responsibilities, let's say even if being busy means I'm taking care of the garden. I have a goal, I have a project to do something, home project that I have. I will not have that much free time to spend on my phone. And instead of looking at what people do, if I do, I spend time with my family. And that means even playing with my grandchild, with my child. Making baby noises to make them laugh. There are scary studies that just show about when parents, when they're on their phone, what it does to the children, to the infants. Because you cannot be there in both places. You cannot look at your phone and give attention to your child. So the reason sometimes we end up in that bad cycle is because of weakness. Weakness of what? That mu'min is like a mountain. It means that a mu'min is looking for stability. This is not that, okay, a mu'min, today I say La ilaha illallah and tomorrow I'm stronger than a mountain. No. Quran says, there are people who came to the Prophet and said, we are mu'min. This is the Quran, Surah Al-Hujurat, you can look at it. Said, oh Prophet, they're the one who come to you and said, we have iman, we have faith. Allah is telling the Prophet, Allah is so generous, Allah let go of so many things. But when it comes to this claim, so I'm a mu'min, I'm a believer, I'm a faithful person. Allah said, that's a big word for you. You did not get there yet. Don't say, قُل لَمْ تُؤْمِنُوا. You just become Muslim, you just accepted Islam. Don't say you have Iman. Don't say you have faith. وَلَكِنْ قُولُوا أَسْلَمْنَا. Rather say, we accepted Islam, we become Muslim. وَلَمَّا يَدْخُلِ الْإِيمَانِ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ. Iman did not find its way to your hearts yet. It's a journey. It's a work in progress. So when you say a mu'min is stronger than a mountain, it doesn't mean, oh, I was born into a Shia family, I'm a mu'min. To this definition, that is stronger than a mountain, is a mu'min who actually Iman entered the heart, meaning by practice. Meaning that I actually let this find its way, that I am practicing my faith. But how can we build that? I give you 4 points from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. I said these are ancient wisdom that come from 1,000 years ago. Of course, for us, as we said, there are Ahlul Bayt, they are infallible and all that. But even aside from that, not everything that is new, it makes us good. Not everything that is recently developed, it means is good. And the same is with wisdom. Even nowadays, people recognize that. I see entrepreneurs, I see successful people, leadership, consultants, all of them, what they do now, they're going to start reading books of the past. They're not Muslim, obviously. Majority of them go, and now they're reading Roman philosophers, Greek philosophers. Now they're going back and reading their words and using it how to advise CEOs and leaders of this generation. Because the wisdom is applicable. So our sixth Imam alayhi salam said, this is something that Imam said, I myself follow. Imam alayhi salam said, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. قيل للصادق عليه السلام ماذا بنيت أمرك. Our sixth Imam was told, what did you build your life based on? Somebody asked him alayhi salam, and sometimes there are details. For example, we hear the story that somebody called Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam with an insult. Said, Anta Baqar. The title is al-Baqir. He tried to be funny or insulting. He removed the alif and said, Anta Baqar, God forbid your cow. And Imam alayhi salam did not entertain that insult. He said, Ana Baqir. My name is Baqir. Means the one who split open knowledge. You get it, you get it. You don't get it, you don't get it. Let's move on. Imam does not entertain insults. They call that your mother was a cook, was a chef. Imam say, yeah, she was a cook, she was a chef. So, what do you think? By calling my mother, she didn't do anything indecent or wrong. You tried to put her down by that. Like, for example, someone said, oh, your father was a farmer. Or you used to live in a village. You're a villager. Okay, who cares? Yes. Then what? Why should I even entertain this insult? These are details, but then there are principles. Somebody asked Imam al-Sadiq, what did you build your life based on? What are those principles that you live in? Imam said there are 4 of them. فقال عليه السلام على أربعة أشياء. So there are 4 things that I built my life on. Number 1, علمت أن عملي لا يعمله غيري. The first principle I learned in this life, and I follow, is that I know no one will do my work except me. Nobody will do my actions, my responsibilities except me. فاجتهدت. And as a result of that, I start working hard. Nowadays, we always expect others to do something for us. I expected my friends to do this for me. I expected my wife to do this for me. I expected my children, my husband. Let's be clear. It's not a good thing. In this dunya, we are alone. We're alone. Everyone who comes to our life eventually will leave us, except Allah. And Allah said, I give you what you need. And what I gave you is I gave you the ability to do work. وَعَامِلُوا الصَّالِحِ, right? إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَامِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You find for Iman, I sent prophets, I sent Ahlul Bayt, I sent holy books and Quran. I showed you the Iman and way. And then now is your job, عَمَلُ الصَّالِحِ. Do good deeds. So don't wait for me to do the good deed for you. Simple. There's a lot of misunderstanding. Let's say somebody went to a scholar and said, you know, Sheikh, I have a shop and my shop has been plagued by these insects and there's some animals who are destroying my crop. And the Sheikh told him, said, okay, what do you want me to do? He said, you know, is there a dua? Is there something? And the Sheikh said, yes, there are du'as, but what have you been doing till now? He said, nothing, I've been watching them. So the Sheikh told him, yes, the dua is there, but before the dua, Allah gave you the ability to use your intelligence, your means, your skills to get rid of them, to repel them. In our deen, that's the way to do it. Harmful animals, to the best of our abilities, not for entertainment, not for pleasure. If the only way to get rid of them is by using some means and, you know, to kill them or get rid of them, is permissible, harmful animals. You cannot just watch them. The misunderstanding is that people assume that Allah should do the work for me. Istikhara, you've heard this in my lectures many times. Istikhara means seeking khair for Allah, but was never intended to make us lazy. I don't want to research the groom. I don't want to know the family of the bride. Istikhara. Istikhara said, good, we do it. He said, no, we don't do it. What Quran says? What Quran says? Man ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu. If somebody, an untrusted word brought you news, verify it. Somebody tells you this guy is a good guy, but you don't know who he is. Verify it. Tabayyanu. Ask around, do your research. Nowadays, a lot of people have social media present, check their page, know what kind of person they are. Do not investigate to their personal life, do not chase them or spy on them. Well, what is the public image? Get to know who they are. Imam alayhi salam said, this is principle number one. I learned no one will do my action except me. I talk about wasiyah. Yes, it's a responsibility of the eldest son to do it, but it doesn't take away what if I don't have an eldest son? It's my responsibility. It's my salat, it's my fast. I have to make sure either I do it myself or I write it down that this should be fulfilled. علمت أن عملي لا يعمله غيري فاجتهدت. Principle number 2. وعلمت أن الله عز وجل مطلع علي. Principle number 2 that I follow is that I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of me, is informed of everything that I do and say. Then فاستحييت. Then I have haya, meaning I'm mindful of Allah's presence. I don't let to become someone who is shameless. Whatever I do, even if no one is watching me, even if nobody have a proof against me, I know Allah is Sami'un Basir. Allah is all hearing, all seeing. That's all that matters. People with 30 years of marriage, 40 years of marriage. 40 years ago, there was no paperwork that this is the mahar, this is what you promised or not. The time of divorce comes, what's your proof? Show me a paper. I will give you a mahar. Bring it. I was young. I said something. I didn't know what I'm saying. You made a promise before Allah. That's a dain. That's a debt. You can go around it. You can play with it. But the point is, when it's going to cost you, when it's against your interest, that's the moment of test. Obviously, all the men like the hadith that is about men. Men should be this and men should be that. Sisters, all due respect, they love the hadith is about their rights. Rarely we find, okay, this hadith is not in my advantage, but this is the haqq. This is the truth. I have to do it even if it's going to cost me. Imam said principle number 2, even if there's no proof, there is no signature, there is no recording, but I know Allah is the recorder. Allah is the observer, then I have haya, istahyaytu. I was embarrassed and ashamed to do something that I know Allah witness. Principle number 3. وَعَلِمْتُ أَنَّ رِزْقِي لَا يَأْكُلُهُ غَيْرِي. I learned that my rizq, what was meant for me, my provision, my sustenance, no one except me will eat it. What was meant for me will come to me. فَاطْمَأْنَنْتُ. Then I trusted Allah. I didn't let my sleep to be disturbed because I'm worried. What if my rizq doesn't come? What if my business is going to be shut down? What if there's a layoff? What if somebody is going to go and is jealous of me and say so many of these what ifs is the cause of anxiety. I know people who unfortunately have anxious, they're stressed over things that there's all about possibilities. It's not even here yet. What if? And Imam said principle number 3 is simple. I know that my rizq is with Allah. I seek it, I go after it. My rizq is there for me to get. I can't say I'm sitting home and Sheikh Modarres said your rizq is no one can take it except you. No, you have to go for it. Alaykum bit talab. You're responsible to seek it, to go after it. But once I understand it, nothing else should worry me. Well, I always should do more. Always should do more. My brother and sister, there's a concern for me. I see in the community, I know we live in California, the cost of living is so high. I see families who work multiple jobs. Mom works, dad works, not one job, 2 jobs sometimes. What was happening to children? Who's raising them? And then after, alhamdulillah, we pay off the house. After we have, then we say, okay, now is the time of tarbiyah. Let's now raise the children. And the child is 14 now. And there is no bond, there is no connection. Suddenly you can't just play the role of a loving parent at the age of 14. And there's a sacrifice you have to make. Yes, you have to probably live in a smaller house, maybe. Maybe you cannot take all the vacations you want, maybe. Maybe you cannot have all these, expensive gadgets, but it means I have more time. That's the definition of rizq. Sometimes we're going after rizq that is not meant for us. And why we do it? Going back to the Qarun story. We do it because we look at what people have. This is the kind of car they drive. I should drive it as well. I take a bigger loan. I pay more interest, which is haram and all that. We know. So Imam said this is principle number 3. I know that my rizq, no one except me will take it. So what about those people who steal? Yes, they steal means they committed a sin. And that haram is not going to give them barakah. Yes, there are those who take away other people's rizq. That's possibility. That should not be something that concerns you. It should concern them. When people say, there was a money on the floor, I didn't pick it up. What if I don't pick it up, somebody else will pick it up? Let them. When they pick it up, it's their responsibility. Right? Simple. When somebody accepts a responsibility, they have to fulfill it. It's not on me. And the last principle number 4, Imam said, وَعَلِمْتُ أَنَّ آخِرَ أَمْرِ الْمَوْتِ. The 4th thing I learned and I know, Imam alayhi salam said, is that I know that the end of my story, the end of my matter is going to be death. Maut is coming. Al-mawtu ya'ti baghtatan. This is a poetry attributed to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Ya man bidunya ishtaghal. Or the one that you are busy and occupied with this dunya and distracted by it. Eventually, Imam get to this point. وَالْمَوْتُ يَأْتِي بَغْتَةً. Suddenly, death will come. You don't expect it. وَالْقَبْرُ صُنْدُوغُ الْعَمَلِ. And all you can take in the grave will be your amal, your action. Imam said, number 4 is that I know that the end of the matter, the end of the story is death. What did I do? I sat down and I cried about it? Was I depressed about it? No. فَاسْتَعَدَّدْتُ. So I prepared myself for it. I start the preparation. If I know, inshallah, I pray that all of you go for ziyarat, inshallah, in Rajab and Sha'ban. If I know that in 20 or in next month I'm traveling, what do? I start crying that I'm going to be traveling, or what do? I start preparing. Make sure, if there's a my job, I give the notice and I ask for time off. If it's, ticket, I'm going to book it. I do preparation. I take my luggage and start preparing. Imam said, we know that death is coming for everyone. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Everyone will deal with it. So now that we know it's coming, it doesn't discriminate. فَاسْتَعْدَدْتُ. Then prepare yourself for it. And one of the best preparation for it is, remember, in dunya, whatever it's from the blessings and the joy of this dunya, regardless of how much we experience it, it will never be enough. It will never be enough. There's always this desire for more. At the moment somebody recognizes this dunya is temporary, nothing in this dunya is going to last forever, and there is this peace that comes with this conclusion, with this finding, that the one who is showing off with their youth and being young, the one who's wealthy, the one who has all, none of this is going to last forever. None of it. And a reminder to all of us is to build our life in a way that Quran says, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله. Allah said, those who have Iman. Remember? So Iman is something that we need to get to. We were born Muslims. Yes, we were born mu'min by the definition of accepting the wilayat of Allah, the Prophet, and Ahlul Bayt. Yes. But to be a mu'min that is stronger than a mountain, it needs work. It needs efforts to get there. And these four principles, the more we live with them, the stronger we become. Imagine if all I know, my rizq, nobody will take away from me. As if it's meant for me, it will come. Would I be weak? Would I wish for something else's rizq? I know that what was meant for me will come to me. I will have my dignity and honor. Marriage, I know is very difficult. A lot of young people, they unfortunately go through a lot of pain when they want someone. This person and no one except this person. If this person was your rizq and is your rizq, you will get to them. That's it. Trusting that, itma'nantu. Itminan means a peace of mind. If that's the principle of life, then I'm strong. But if it's the other way, I think it's all about how desperate I am. It's all about how much, I do more. Then I will be desperate. I'll be frustrated. I'm literally grabbing on everything around me. And these are not the signs of strength. These are the signs of weakness. A mu'min is the weakest before Allah and is the strongest before everyone else. There is a Farsi poetry, I'm pretty sure there's an Urdu definition. Please, if you have it, it is a Urdu equivalent of that. Say, Ba Khuda bash padeshahi kun. If you're with Allah, if you show humility before Allah as a servant, then you will be the king. Bi Khuda bash har che khahi kun. Take Allah away. Without Allah, then you can do whatever you want. You're not a king anymore, but you are doing whatever you want. An example of that we see in the life of the Ahlul Bayt. The one we call him Shah-e-Arab, right? Ali ibn Abi Talib is the one who's known for his bravery, for his strength. This is an example of the one who is the weakest before Allah. He is the one who says, ظَلَمْتُ نَفْسِي, in Dua Kumail. Who are the words that we say in Dua Kumail? وَأَنَا عَبْدُكَ الضَّعِيفُ الذَّلِيلُ الْحَقِيرُ الْمِسْكِينُ الْمُسْتَكِينُ. These are the words of Imam Ali alayhi salam to Kumail. But the word is the word of Imam Ali. What is he referring to himself as? Al-Da'if. Ya Allah, I'm the weak one. Haqir, miskeen. I'm the insignificant one. I'm the poor. But this man, when it comes to anyone beside Allah, he is the one that will never turn his back to the enemy. Karrarun ghayru farrar. Prophet said about him. The Battle of Khaybar said, I will give the banner to the hand of someone that Allah is pleased with, and he's pleased with Allah. When he was giving it to Imam Ali, among the words that that Prophet described Imam Ali was, Karrarun ghayru farrar. He's this one that you will see over and over performing in the same level. You can count on him all the time. Count on him all the time. غَيْرُ فَرَّارٍ. He will never run away. He will never escape. Why? Because he's the mu'min. Amirul mu'minin. He's the master. He's the commander of the believers. If a mu'min is like a mountain, imagine the commander of the believers, what he is. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt, especially by the honor of Imam al-Baghir and Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, grant all of us the strength of Iman, to use our Iman as a source of strength. A mu'min is not a weak person. And these verses, recite them. These are known as the verses of mulk. In Surah Al-Imran, قُلِ اللَّهُمَّ مَالِكَ الْمُلْكِ. You can recite them after the salat, you can recite them in nafila prayers, whatever you find a way. You say, Ya Allah, Malik al-Mulk. The sovereignty in the kingdom belongs to you. تُؤْتِ الْمُلْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. You give this mulk to the one you choose. Yes, there are those who hijack it, there are those temporarily take the power and all that, but they don't last forever. How many, people know the name of different Fir'aun? Fir'aun was the title. How many people know the name of Fir'aun? Except historians and those who study them, and the name Fir'aun was mentioned in the Quran. Nobody knows that Amin Kutib or whatever was, then nobody knows. But the name Musa alayhi salam, everyone knows. Mulk is the one that Allah gives. وَتَنْزِعُ الْمُلْكِ. He take away from the one that He chooses. وَتُعِزُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ وَتُذِلُّ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. He give izzah, dignity and honor to the one He chooses, and He humiliates the one that He chooses. This izzah is something we should keep in mind. A mu'min is not a weak person. A mu'min is not a fighter. Fighter, let me change the word. A mu'min is not a troublemaker. Because sometimes when you use the word brave, in some cultures, brave is the one who, wherever they go, they start something. The one who shouts and throws hands around, that's not bravery. Brave is the one who understands when to stand up and defend the truth, even if it's going to cost them. That's the true bravery. Brave is the one who doesn't let anger, ghadab, make them to go against haqq. That's brave. Otherwise, if you're a hothead that just scream everywhere and just your way, you're a bully, that's not bravery. You can call it whatever you want. And one great example of that is Ali ibn Abi Talib. When it's a matter of haqq, he does not negotiate with anyone, even his own family member. Even if his brother Aqil asks for something, he's not going to budge a bit. On the haqq, there's no negotiation. But when it comes to the matter that's not about haqq, it's about him. A young man pushing him, doesn't recognize Imam Ali alayhi salam. But he is there to reconcile between this young man and his wife. Imam tolerates. It's about Ali. You pushed Ali, it's okay. And that's the difference. To know it's when is my right to let go, it's my haqq to let go, and when is not my haqq, it's haqqullah, it's people's haqq. The most difficult haqq that we let go is whose haqq? Our haqq. Right? It's our haqq. If somebody doesn't give us the change, $1 that wasn't changed, we're fighting for what $1. Sometimes I'm referring to myself and people like me. And none of you, I know you're mashallah very generous tippers, mashallah, I know. Or we fight over that $1. Why? It's not about the money. It's about the principle. What principle? No, he thinks I'm a fool. He thinks, let them. It's $1. I've seen people in ziyarah fighting with someone at ziyarah, the one who pushed the cart, over some money. I said, let them. Again, what are they going to do with it? Oh, they think they can cheat me or they can trick me. I said, okay, let them. That $1, what difference is going to make in my life or your life? You give charity here and there and sadaqah here and there, so what? Said, I forgive it. Okay, you can have it. But when it comes to other people's haqq, we become generous. Sheikh, let it go, it's okay, you forgive. It's Sheikh, right? It's not a big deal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, once again, our dua is to help us to live this life that ultimately lead us to iman, to faith, to live us according to the principles, that these principles will lead us to tranquility and peace of mind. If you want to test, did I get to iman or not? A simple question. Do I have what is known as itminan? The further I am not stressed, the more calm and tranquil I become, that's the sign of iman. The highest level, we say, Ilahi Ridhan Biridak. Imam al-Hussein, we have in the narration that further the difficulty escalated in the day of Ashura, the demeanor, the face of Imam al-Hussein get calmer. It should be the opposite. This was opposite of what average people do. The further bala came, calamities came, the further Imam al-Hussein's face was calmer. Why? Because at the beginning is about Imam, what Imam's supposed to do, right? It's about his jihad, it's about his effort. The further it escalated, it's going out of his hand. It's not in his control anymore. He lost his companions, he lost his alamdar, he lost everyone. And it was all itminan to Allah. Ilahi ridhan ridha. Because now I know who's in charge. May Allah grant us that peace of mind at the time of death. That we believe at the time of death, Prophet and Imam Ali alayhi salam are the who come. Why they come? For a mu'min, they become a sign of tranquility. That what you believed in, this is it. Just look at this glimpse, death is easier for you. That witness become a sign of rahmah. Because when you see them, oh, what I believed in, now I saw it, it becomes less difficult for the transition. For the kuffar and non-believers, it becomes the beginning of adhab. Because they look at them and say, oh, so they were real. The one that we didn't believe in, they were. So even the transition become more difficult because they know what they have denied. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all maghfirah and forgiveness and the shafa'a of the Ahlul Bayt with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A few weeks ago was the birth anniversary of Sayyidah Fatima, salamullahi alayha. And usually for us is a reason to celebrate mothers. It's a mother's, Islamic Mother's Day. And when it comes to Majlis that we remember a sister, what a better way than remembering the mother of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, Sayyidah Fatima. And our dua is that her middle name is Zehra. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the honor of Sayyidah Fatima, make her inshallah abode to be Jannah and to be inshallah resurrected with the Ahlul Bayt and to receive the shafa'a of Sayyidah Fatima inshallah in the day of judgment. Asma bint Umays. Again, this lady, maybe if it's tawfiq and I come back, we should talk about her in the independent lecture. And I just want to give you a simple sample of bravery. Who she is. She is the wife of first Khalifa, Asma bint Umays. Her son is who? Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. When you say a mu'min is like a mountain, is you being married to someone that we know. When we talk about the calamities of Sayyidah Fatima, one name is there. And to be with that family, but you are the one that you are the confidant of Ali ibn Abi Talib with Fatima. This is a very important message. That Ahlul Bayt were on the side of truth and haqq. It wasn't about family relationships. Oh, you're related to him or her. You are honorable. Remember that she is so trustworthy that we have a narration that the first Khalifa did not know, was not informed of the burial of Fatima. But Asma bint Umays knew, and she didn't say anything. Why? Because it was an amana. She was trusted with something that is only to you. No one except you and people that we choose should know about this. There's a lot in that story. And she raised a son like Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, one who is one of the shaheed for the mahabba of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. There's a narration that Imam Ali alayhi salam said, I love people with the name Muhammad. One of them, of course, the number one is Prophet. And the second one that Imam Ali name was Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. So I love this Muhammad as well. After Prophet, this is a Muhammad I love. He's the one who was raised by Asma bint Umays. And Asma was there during the final days. She was the nurse. She was the one who took care of Fatima to Zahra. And we have that Fatima to Zahra told them, Asma, my father received this kafur, camphor, special one from Jibreel. He divided it to 3 portions. 1 portion for himself, 1 portion for me, and 1 portion for Ali. This is where it is, go bring my portion. So Asma, as soon as she heard that Sayyidah Fatima is preparing for her ghusl, she started crying. She listened. She brought the kafur. And Sayyidah Fatima told her, oh Asma, I'm going to cover my face. I'm going to rest for a bit. Call me after a while. If I didn't answer you, go and call Ali. If I answer you, nothing. So Asma said, I waited and I saw that she covered her face. And after a while, I called her, Ya bint Rasulullah, O daughter of the Prophet. No answer came from Fatima. O daughter of the best of creation. Nothing came. O daughter of Khadijatul Ghurra. Nothing. So we have that as I did not get any answer from Sayyidah Fatima. Asma said, Ya bint Rasulullah, say my salam to your grandfather, to your father Rasulullah. As she was mourning, suddenly Hassan and Hussein walked in. These are narrated by Allama Majlisi and Bahar Anwar. I'm reading word by word from his report. Hassan and Hussein walked in. And they noticed that Sayyidah Fatima, their mother is not in the house, she is in the room. So they told her, this is not the time of the rest of our mother. Where is she? And we have that Asma, as she was crying, and said, oh, beloved sons of the Prophet, your mother is not asleep. She just departed this dunya. And as soon as they heard this, they rushed toward the body of their mother. And we have that Imam al-Hassan embraced his mother, and he starts saying, my mother, Ummuna Fatima, answer Hassan before the soul of Hassan is going to leave his body. And Hussein alayhi salam placed his face on the feet of Sayyidah Fatima. Said, my dear mother Fatima, answer Hussein before I die. And they start mourning and crying. And Asma approached him and said, this is the wasiyah of your mother. Go and call, go inform your father Ali. And we have that Hassan and Hussein running, crying. They came to the masjid al-Nabi, the mosque of the Prophet. Their eyes filled with tears and they're crying. We have that some of the companions saw them and said, why you're crying? Is it that because you just remember your grandfather? Remember that it was not long since the death of Prophet. They thought that maybe they remembered the musibah, the loss of their grandfather Rasulullah. And they look at him and said, no, that's not it. Admatad ummuna Fatima. Indeed, our mother has passed. And we have that they went to Imam Ali alayhi salam, oh, dear father Ali, come, because our mother is not in this dunya anymore. What does the narration says? فَوَقَعَ عَلِيٌّ عَلَى وَجْهِهِ. The one who is the conqueror of Khaybar, the one who never turned his back to enemy, the bravest of all, when he heard the news of the departure of Fatima, Ali fell on his face on the ground. And how he was able to get to the house and was able to get to the body of Fatima, Allah knows. But there's one way that Ali was able to go through the burial of Fatima. When he placed the body of Fatima inside the grave, this is how he got help. He said, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. He asked for his brother Rasulullah to be the help. O Messenger of Allah, hadha wadi'atuk. This is what you trusted me with. O Messenger of Allah, forgive me that when you trusted me with this amana, her face did not have these bruises. That when you trusted me with Fatima, her ribs were not broken. وألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. إلهي يا حميد بحق محمد، يا عالي بحق علي، يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة، يا محسن بحق الحسن، يا قديم الإحسان بحق الحسين. Ya Allah, hasten the return of Imam over time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman. Ya Allah, by the honor of the month of Rajab, bless the soul of all Marhumeen, especially Marhouma, Tanveer, Zehra, and Ya Allah, resurrect her with Fatima to Zahra, Salamullahi alayha. Ya Allah, all those who are mareed, those who are in need of our du'as, bless them with the strength, with sabr and patience, and ultimate remedy and cure and shifa. Ya Allah, we pray for all the madhlumeen, all the oppressed of the world, especially for madhlumeen of Gaza. We're still suffering, we're still dealing with, as we know, not only the indiscriminate bombing and the targeted massacre of the civilians, but also with famine and hunger. Ya Allah, bring an end to the suffering of all the madhlumeen, especially the madhlumeen of Palestine, and grant them their freedom and liberation. Ya Allah, by the honor of Sayyidah Fatima Salamullah alayha, bless us with the Iman, who is ultimately lead us to the path of Haqq with the Sirat al-Mustaqim, which we believe is the path of Quran and the Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allah, we ask you to grant us the tawfiq of ziyarat of your house, Baytullah al-Haram, the ziyarat of the Messenger of Allah, and the ziyarat of the Ahlul Bayt, especially Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, and their shafa'a on the Day of Judgment. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولوالدي والدينا ولمن له حق علينا ولجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات. Let's remember all the marhumin, especially Marhouma Tanveer Zehra bint Sayyid Sajjad Hussein Zaidi with Surah Fatiha and Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. On behalf of all the participants, our condolences to the family of Marhouma. May Allah inshallah grant them sabr and patience. And on behalf of the family of Marhouma, I thank everyone who joined us today for the Esaal Sawab. May Allah give you the khair of dunya, afi and siha and health inshallah. Let's inshallah conclude with the ziyarah. وَعَجِّلِ اللَّهُمَّ فِي فَرَجِ مَوْلَانَا صَاحِبَ الْعَصْرِ وَالزَّمَانِ.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين بيوم الدين، يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي أبا محمد يا حسن المجتبى. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى صحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبو الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين وسيدة زينب أم كلثوم وسكينة. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن الحسين الزين العابدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا مولاي جعفر بن محمد الصادق. الصادق. السلام عليك يا مولاي باب الحوائج يا موسى بن جعفر القادم. السلام عليك يا مولاي غريب الغرباء يا علي بن موسى الرضا وأختك فاطمة مأسومة. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن محمد الحادي النقي. السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن بن علي الزكي الأصفري. السلام عليك يا سيدنا يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان وشر الشيطان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسحر الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك. بسم الله
الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذا الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا ونمتعه فيها تبيرا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عليه عليه صلوات.
Bring sisters, please, Surah Al-Fatiha for all of you Marhumeen, especially for Marhouma, Tanveer, Zehra, Mirza, Bint Sayyid Sajjad Hussain Zaidi. Al-Fatiha.